What's going on, everybody? I'm Brian Baker. That's Gavin. Today we're headed out to the race shop to get the cars ready for our trip to Nebraska next week. Thursday we will be in Columbus, Nebraska, racing at US 30. Friday night we will be in Salina, Kansas, and Saturday we will be at Eagle Raceway at Eagle, Nebraska. So we got a couple things finished up on the cars. We're gonna head there now, try to get those finished up. All right, so we're here at the shop today. We're just cutting up some new brackets for our bumper builds. These are a bumper support bracket that we use on the nose of our cars, cut our logos into them, getting a couple of those cut out for us here on our trip to Nebraska for next week. A couple of other brackets that we got to use are the bumper mounting brackets. So we'll get those loaded up here. We'll get those put in, we'll get a couple of those cut out. As you can see, now we've got our brackets loaded up. And now what that'll do is create a file there. That'll transfer it over the table. We'll move our cutting torch into the position that we want. Zero all these. Turn on our compressor again. And hit cut. Alright, so as you can see, our last piece has been cut, so now we have a flat piece of plate. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take that over to the metal brake. We're going to get that broke into the shape that we need it to start building our bumpers with. So this is our metal brake we use. This down here is a Swag off-road brake piece that we use. We've modified it in the bottom here with the channel pieces that we cut to be able to get a tighter brake with it. So we've got the first piece broke. Now what we're going to do is we're going to fold up our gussets.
We're actually going to fold these corners over, and this will be a left side bumper bracket now. So what we'll do is we'll move our spacer over. It keeps the die from bending over. Tighten it down, square it up, just by eyeball. It don't matter on these. They're not real precise. And we'll bend it to where the corners touch each side. Release it.
So now in order to prep these parts, what you can do is you can either DA sand them, or typically like on these, what we'll do is we'll just take a wire wheel, we'll knock off the dross. The dross is what's considered to be slag material left over from the cut. So we'll get those cleaned up, get them ready, start welding bumpers up. All right, so we just got up here to the shop. We're gonna take the pieces that we just cut, get those cleaned up, and we're gonna start bending our tubes for our front bumpers. We're gonna start putting some bumpers together. All right, so I've got my tubing bender out. I gotta put the dies in it for the tubing size that we're gonna be bending up. We use tubing, we don't use pipes for oil fields. Tubing is for race cars. I got the JD squared tube notcher. We got that locked in the vise with our drill. So once we start getting our pieces cut, we'll be able to use this to notch our pieces of tubing. We'll start putting those together. For some of the viewers and followers who don't understand what we're doing is we're building the spare front bumpers for the race cars. Now, both of our race cars use them, as most modifieds do. So what we're going to be doing is today we're going to be bending the pieces of tubing. We just cut the pieces down there that'll go right here. This bumper doesn't have the center brackets, but it does use our chassis brackets here. So what we'll do is we'll get these all put together and we'll start assembling those bumpers out. Okay, so I've got the tubing bender pretty much assembled here as far as all of our dies. Now, for some of you who don't follow fabrication and stuff, we have to use multiple different sizes for different styles of tubing. So we use the most basics. This is 3/4, 1 inch, 1.25 inch, 1.5 inch, and 3/4 for our tubing sizes. That's used in various stuff as drag cars, race cars, custom fabrication, stuff like that. So what we're going to be using today is an 1.25 inch tubing die for our front bumpers. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab our die down here and we're going to get that put into the bender. Now we've got our piece of tubing into the tubing die. So now what we're going to do is we've got our marks here where we're going to start our bends. So now what you do is you line up on the inside. I've always marked all my dies with a notch right there. So that tells me where the bend's going to start. So what we're going to do is we're going to be bending this out to 90 degrees, and that'll give us our front piece to our bumper. All right, so we got all of our pieces bent, got our center pieces all cut and notched out, and these are the pieces that we were cutting on the table earlier for all of our gussets and bumper brackets to the frame. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get these welded out, then we'll get some paint on them, have them spares in the trailer. All right, so that pretty much wraps up what we're doing for our Nebraska trip as far as our prep and stuff goes. I just got to get this wheel and tire back on there, put the nose and hood on, get 2 fresh air cleaners for the cars. We got to put filler panels on. Both cars are ready. We got all of our spare bumpers and parts together. This one's done. We just got to put 2 new tires on the right hand side. So we got 3 front bumpers, rear bumper finished up here. Should be enough spares there. Everything else is good to go. I was gonna fix some of this stuff, but we're not gonna worry about it till after we get back from this trip. We'll put a new doors and quarters and wrap on it. You got any expectations for the weekend?
I don't know, have fun, get there. It's my first time racing back east, so farthest I've been is Tennessee, and that was just a Bristol show. We've never ran US 30, but we've ran Beatrice and we ran Eagle Speedway, and we did pretty good there last year. We'll see how we do again this year with both of our cars being there. So hopefully we'll make it there in time to make the Thursday night show. Just time change is the biggest issue with leaving. So I guess we'll see how all that goes.
So for those that don't know, this is my twin brother Adam. We're identical twins. We were born about 1.5 minutes apart. Adam is the driver of the 17A. This is his car here, and then I'm the driver of the 11B, Brian Baker, in this one. So yeah, we're gonna head back east. We're gonna hit Nebraska, Kansas, back to Nebraska, and then we will come home, see what races are gonna be running here locally in California. There's a couple races out of state towards the end of the month that we might try to catch some of those at the end of June. A couple in July that we're looking into. A couple of big shows back east. Try to get back there as well. So that's kind of our game plan. Just kind of jump around a little bit this year and move around there. Maybe try out some new places. We'd like to get up to the Dakotas. Try a couple places up there, Montana, Wyoming. Maybe even towards the end of the year, we'd like to jump into Ardmore, Oklahoma. Maybe some Texas stuff if we can find some IMCA stuff that'll allow the Northerns down there. I'm not really too sure what all's able to run down there, so we haven't really tried to look. That's kind of our plan. So we're gonna get things wrapped up here in the shop, get cleaned up. Our next video will be our trip to Nebraska. So we will start that trip starting this Wednesday. So as we go, we will try to get as much video footage and everything as we can for that whole entire trip. So stay tuned, keep watching, subscribe, like. We're out.